What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, talk about why next week is going to be very big, and why the market does have more upside potential, which could lead to something very, very new. I believe that despite the market trying to push up higher, that does not necessarily stop it from entering the cycle that's about to come, which is going to be a big downwards move towards the end of October and also in early November. I believe there's still going to be downside coming during that cycle phase. It could be a little bit delayed because of this move. And for now, yes, the market could try to push back up to all-time highs for the time being, but we're still setting up for that bigger drop that's coming later on. So I still hold that view. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of minutes. But please note that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget to check out my Webull link. If you deposit any amount of money, you're guaranteed at 12 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 in total. If you deposit $25,000 more, you're guaranteed 75. So, anyways, what's happening with the market? So, what happened was the market was bearish, very, very weak. There's a lot of fear about this whole port strike that was going on because this could have had a massive impact on inflation, on what happens with supply chains, and it could have really hurt the lives of everyday Americans. It was very, very tough. So, with all the fears that were emerging, negotiations were made, and the strike ended up ending yesterday in the evening as the workers agreed to a tentative deal on wages and contract extensions. So, what I was saying is, if this lasted a long time, like a month or something crazy like that, it could have had a devastating impact on the lives of Americans, believe it or not. But because this ended early, that's a good sign that things are going to resume as they are. And luckily, the damage will once again be able to be undone. So that's a good sign for us. So what's going to happen with this? What they basically did is they negotiated and they agreed to a deal that they're going to be extending their contracts through January 15th, which gives them time to negotiate a new contract. Once again, ending all the strikes that are going on for the East and Gulf Coast ports. This was bullish news for stocks like Amazon, the Walmarts out there, and many other tickers out there. And then today we also got the unemployment numbers. Unemployment was below expectations. The market loved that. That's why the market ended up pushing against. The whole soft landing narrative came back. That's why the market is back in the green. So the question now remains, what's happening for next week? And we have some catalysts I want to really, really talk about. So for Monday, we just have a couple of Fed speakers like Bostic, Kashkari, and Bowman. For Tuesday, we have, let me double check, Collins, Jefferson, a few others, just a bunch of Fed speakers. Not much is coming out, just some optimism reports. Then Wednesday through Friday is when the data gets very serious. On Wednesday, we have a couple of Fed speakers, and then we have the notorious FOMC minutes coming out. This is going to cause some high volatility for the markets, so be ready for that. For Thursday, we have the notorious CPI report. CPI is going to be huge, could affect the Fed's policies and what the market thinks. For Friday, we have the PPI report. It's going to cause high volatility as well. And we have something else coming out on Friday. So I would say data is going to be more heavy Wednesday through Friday of next week. Monday and Tuesday are going to be a little bit more quiet. Now, for other factors out there, I just want to mention that we have earnings season starting again. Q3 has come to an end last week, and now we're entering this next cycle. What's going to happen is Monday through Thursday have very, very quiet minor earnings. We have like PepsiCo, we have Domino's, and a few, a few others. But for Friday is when we're going to be having JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and BlackRock all announcing their earnings. So Friday is going to be very, very important. Whatever these big banks announce is going to cause high volatility. So Wednesday through Friday is going to be more volatile because of data, and Friday is going to be a big day because of bank earnings. So be ready for all of that. Another factor affecting the markets would be the whole situation involving Israel and Iran. So there's been a lot of talk about retaliation. And by the way, guys, I know that this history goes back a while. I'm not going to pick any sides about who started what. I just want to say that there was an attack on Israel, and now they're planning a retaliation. President Joe Biden came out today and he said that he's opposing the possibility of Israeli strikes on Iranian oil facilities. So once again, he can have his opinion. I'm not going to make any assumptions about this until we see what happens. So we'll see what Israel ends up doing. So be very patient with that. Besides that, that's all I'm seeing for the time being. For other factors out there, we also have the robo-taxi event for Tesla on Thursday, October 10th. That's going to be important. Can't wait to see what Tesla announces. And the market's at greed. We're not at extreme greed yet, which gives us a little bit more room to go higher. I still think that we could go a little bit higher for now. Then we also have momentum at greed. We're seeing a lot of greed right now as buyers are continuing to step in. The puts and call option ratios at greed. We'll see if this dips down if buyers do continue to step in. And then the VIX is waiting for some big moves. So I'll talk more about the VIX maybe a little bit later on. So what do I think about the market? I said it before, guys, and I'll say it again. I'm going to make this video very simple. I think that as we get closer to the end of October, the market is going to dump, and it's going to be a massive correction that's coming. I also believe the correction may now continue into November, even after the election. It could continue for a couple of weeks until we bottom by mid-November, and then we see another rally. I'll probably make a video about that tomorrow where I go over the more specific, more meticulous details. But for now, before we see that end of October correction, the market may continue to hold up for the time being. We may even attempt to go a little bit higher. So for Monday, I think we're leaning a little bit more bullish, approaching Monday slash CPI. And we could be looking for an attempt to get back up to these all-time highs on SPY. We look bullish on the PPO. We got a nice green bar. And technicals do show that this wants to go a little bit higher to try to fill these imbalances to approach all-time highs. So I think that's very possible. For ES, we look more bullish. We have this imbalance up here around this 5,800 area. Also, 58.25 is going to be another target up here. So I favor the upside a little bit more. I think there's a good chance we approach that. So I think this might attempt to go higher. They might try to confuse a lot of people. A lot of people started shorting the market, thinking we're about to crash, this and that. But instead we're seeing the opposite. They're continuing to squeeze these shorts. I also want to say that because when you look at the puts and call option ratio, so right here, the last couple of days we've been seeing a lot of puts being bought. That's why the ratio is going up a little bit. So we start to see some more put buyers coming in. People were betting the market was going to dump with all the fear about the ports and Israel, and the list goes on. But I don't think we're ready yet. So I'm thinking what's going to happen is we try to push a little bit higher for the time being. Even if they hold the market up for another week, we're still setting up for a much larger dump as we approach the end of October. So for now, we could attempt to rally higher. We could be approaching the 58.25 area on ES. I still think that's very probable. For Nvda, we look bullish as we're making higher lows now. And this thing is trying to form kind of like a cup and handle like structure. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to launch Nvidia towards 128 to 130. Might try to go a little bit higher in early next week. Might consolidate a bit here, then try to push higher. They might try to do that temporarily, but then I think Nvidia could still join the crowd, and we still could get a rug pull later on. We still have these gaps to fill down here, not to mention more down below. So I still think Nvidia is going to get a correction towards the end of October, but for the time being, this is attempting to hold up. Tesla is looking bullish because we closed above or barely above our 20 EMA. The PPO is turning bullish here. We're trying to push. Now, if you zoom out of the chart, this is forming a very, very nice looking accumulation structure, nice inverse head and shoulders. And we actually never met the full measured move, which would take us all the way up to 270. So I think this might attempt to start, pushing, approaching the robotaxi event next week. So Tesla has upside potential for, these much higher levels. It looks bullish to me, and we'll see how things go. For NQ, it looks like we have a double bottom that's forming a cup now. So instead of rejecting after unemployment data came out, we turned more bullish. This is favoring that it wants to push up towards 20,300, which could push the QQQ higher. I see potential in this. Will we end up getting to all-time highs? I can't make that call yet, but I think we're going to be pushing a little bit more. I think they're going to continue to hold the market up for the time being, but they're just setting us up for a bigger dump towards the end of October. For now, they're just grabbing more liquidity. They're trying to trick a lot of people. The QQQ, it's going to likely approach 490 as soon as Monday or Tuesday, maybe approaching CPI. We could even try to break through that and push up towards the next imbalance up here. So I think the 490 area is very probable. It could be coming very soon. So we'll see how things go with that. For Aapl, we look more bullish as we have a nice double bottom and a nice accumulation right here. We have this imbalance up here. So we have 230 as our resistance. We could be looking for a bounce on Aapl, especially if we hold above 226.72. And this could try to push all the way up to these higher levels. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, but be very, very patient nonetheless. Let me go over just a few more. We have IWM looking bullish. It managed to break past 218. So it could be trying to approach this wick right here. This imbalance would take us up to about 220.8. For Coinbase, we're trying to bounce. If we could hold above 168.8, now we're looking for a bigger pump. Amazon looks more bullish. As long as we hold above 185, we could attempt 188 now. The whole market just flipped, so it might temporarily try to push higher, but I'm not saying it's going to last forever. I think Meta saw a nice squeeze. It's going to be looking for that big 600 very soon. I don't think it's going to stop here. 600 is coming. We'll see how it reacts to that. The others out there are looking decent. I think Microsoft looks a little bit weak. We're going to be watching to see if it can try to hold 414. If it doesn't hold, it could technically still dump at 409. It's a little bit weak compared to the market right now because of the fact that we ended up seeing some negative reports. We'll see if we get a bounce or not off this 414 area, but it still looks a little bit more bearish. And Google looks more bullish. It's actually outperforming Microsoft right now. It could be looking for these highs to be tested again as we're forming a nice cup. So I think there's upside potential. So the whole market could flip based off data, whatever they want to do to trick as many people as possible. The dollar may dip here as we're hitting resistance at 102.5. So it might get a bit of a pullback, but then we'll see if it bounces. I'm not a perma bull, guys. I'm not saying the market's going to run forever. I'm saying that we're going to likely see a temporary pump for early, this week, but we're setting ourselves up for a dump for the end of October. I'll kind of give you guys more like visuals about this in my video for tomorrow about how I think this is going to pan out. So this move is just going to be temporary. We're going to temporarily hold around these levels. We could be retesting all-time highs. That's fine. But I'm not a big bull. I think that this is just going to be a temporary pump, and we're setting ourselves up for a bigger dump by the time we get to the end of October, if not by early November. With that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another update. I wanted to make this video very short and simple since it's a Friday, so enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again, and peace out.